Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to AMwand's training webinar for the month of February 2019. My name is Arun Kema. It's my pleasure to connect with you through this webinar series. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good day, because we have people from all over the world connecting through this webinar. So thank you very much. I'm equally excited to share about this webinar. This is the first time we're doing this webinar on 40-point acupressure, AMwand Acupressure, the series. And once again, welcome to AMwand's webinar, 40 points AMwand Acupressure. AMwand itself is a popular tool we have introduced almost 8 years ago, and it has been used professionally and used by many people around the world. And it's our pleasure to extend the use of these products through other alternative therapies and so on. Now, if you are listening to this webinar, I would advise you kindly look at the visuals. Try not to drive or whatever. Kindly look at the visuals and have your AMwand with you. If you have the AMwand, have the AMwand with you so that you're able to locate the points when I'm sharing the slide, and you're able to apply the pressure and feel for yourself the difference. So it's more like a hands-on experience for you. So today's topic on the 40-point M1s, I'm going to jump straight into that. We're going to cover a little bit about the acupressure, about understanding the basic TCM acupressure. And then I'm going to share with you about the M1 acupressure using the tool, the M1 itself, or as an acupressure therapy. And finally, on the common issues. As the title mentioned, is 40 points, but this 40 points can be applied to clear or to help self-help clear some of these common issues, common discomforts, common problems that we have in our health issues and so on. And of course, if you have any concerns, questions regarding today's topic, kindly key in at the chat box, and at the end of this webinar, if time permits, I will try to address every single questions that you have. So with that, let me say again one more time, for those people who just joined, welcome to AMwand's training webinar. It's our pleasure to have you in today's webinar, 40-point M1 acupressure. Now, this is not a complete acupressure training per se or whatever. It is the use of M1 on acupressure points. So I have a disclaimer to make. The information contained in this presentation has not been evaluated by the FDA. This information is not intended to treat, diagnose, cure, or prevent any diseases. And all information provided is for educational purpose only. So always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare providers with any of your questions you have regarding your medical conditions and before undertaking any diet, exercise, or other health program. So with that, another key advice to you is try to sit down, look at the visuals in the webinar, because I'll be sharing with you the 40 different points. And these points might be difficult to look at the slide, so you may have to touch and feel the points in your body. And if you have the wand, then you can actually apply the pressure and feel for yourself the results or the benefits or even the therapeutic effects of the M1 acupressure. Okay, so let's start straight to understanding acupressure. Acupressure is a traditional Chinese medicine bodywork technique based on the same ideas as acupuncture. Acupressure is without the needles at all. It's non-invasive to a certain extent. You only apply pressure. And acupressure has been there over 5,000 years. It's been practiced as a traditional Chinese medicine therapy over 5,000 years. And based on the principles of acupressure, there are 12 standard meridians, also called the principal meridians, that are divided into yin and yang groups. The yin meridians of the arm are lung, heart, and pericardium. The yang meridians of the arm are the large intestine, small intestine, and the triple burner. The yin meridians of the leg are the spleen, kidney, and liver. So basically, the 12 meridians run along our arms and the leg, our body, in fact, and it's connected to every organs depending on the meridian lines. And Along the meridian lines are pressure points, and these are what we call the acupressure points. And why is it so important? The 12 meridian lines, let's look at some of the 12 meridian lines. Is one is the lung, large intestine, stomach, spleen. So if you look at the lung, if you are able to look at the visuals of the lung, you can find that the lung meridian runs from tip of one hand, in fact from your index finger, all right, from the tip of your one hand right up, flow through your neck to the other hand. And so this is what we call the meridian lines. And then we have the heart meridian lines, the small intestine meridian lines, the kidney meridian lines, and so on, that runs through the body. So in acupressure, it involves placing physical pressure. Normally they place hand, or they place the fingertip, or they use the knuckles of your finger, elbow, or with the aid of various devices. So in our case, especially for the sake of this webinar, we're going to share about AMwand, applying AMwand onto this pressure points, on different pressure points of the surface of the body along the meridian lines, to bring about relief through greater balance and circulation of fluids like blood, lymphatic system, and metabolic energies in the body like heat or qi. Due to our daily lives, our movements, and our emotional state, and so on, we bound to have heat traps, air traps, cold traps, or even biochemical reactions in our body that causes gas to be lumped up in our body. And obviously our body is constantly trying to discharge those things and so on. And along the way, such trapments could cause energy flow blockages in our body, especially in our meridian lines. It causes energy flow blocks, or that disrupts, or that creates some kind of discomforts, that even causes some symptoms in our body like headache, coughs, and joint ache, body pain, and so on. So the 12 meridian lines are there for the flow of energy, for the flow of chi, heat, and so on. And it's very important that the flow is there in order to ensure our well-being, or better well-being. So that's about the acupressure. If you're a pregnant woman and cancer patient, shouldn't attempt to do acupressure. I mean, this is just a precautionary measure to take. The pregnant woman and cancer patient should not attempt to do acupressure. So, of course, for this title, AMwand Acupressure, the key tool that we use is AMwand, and it could be anything. It could be a classic one, or a black tip one, or even the professional AMwand Plus. For the benefit of those new people that's listening to the webinar, AMwell itself, we have 3 different AMwands: the AMwand Classic, the AMwand Black Tip, and the professional multi-tip AMwand Plus. The AMwand is made up of special combination of 13 to 14 types of granulated minerals and crystals, mainly monatomic substance, that are energized using our proprietary technology, AFT, that's ionized fission technology, to resonate at 0-point resonance. So it's a quantum resonance tool to help cleanse, balance the energy flow in any living system, be it be a human body or even animal, and so on. So it's a tool, it's a 0-point energy resonance tool, a quantum resonance tool, that when you point at a living energy, it helps to circulate, it helps to enhance, it helps to cleanse the flow of energy in our body. And of course, again, for the benefit of those new people who are listening to the webinar, you point the M1 and you turn it clockwise. When you turn it clockwise, you create a vortex of energy flow. And this vortex of energy flow, together with your biofield intelligence, it's able to recognize, source the energy, and make the energy cleanses, balancings, and enhancements in our flow. And M1, typically, what we have shared with you, M1, typically, you point it at the 7 major chakras and you wand. And that is the regular, or that is the main purpose of the wand. And for the benefit of those new people who are listening in, You take the wand, you point it as close as possible to the energy centers or the so-called chakras, and you wand it clockwise. So when you move it clockwise, you create a vortex of energy flow that helps to cleanse, balance, and enhance energies. And of course, you can also use the M1 on any affected areas. For example, let's say you have a shoulder pain at a particular area, or an arm pain, or whatever it is. You can point it at that particular area and wand it as much as possible, as close as possible. That helps to relieve the pain and so on. So this is the main use of the M1. Of course, besides this, you can also use the M1 on 40 different points in your body, basically to get rid of or to help you overcome some of the common issues. As I mentioned to you earlier, let me recap back again that these 12 meridian lines run along, connecting different organs to the meridian lines. And along the way, due to stress or due to lifestyle or whatever reasons may be, there could be heat traps, there could be cold traps, there could be gases that's trapped in that causes blockages in our energy flow in the meridian lines that causes some kind of discomforts or disorders in our system. And of course, for common issues, for common discomforts and so on, we try to look for home remedies. We try to find a way to resolve it ourselves. And of course, if it's persists, if it continues to aggravate, then it's always advised to seek your physician help and to overcome such things. So let's look at some of the common issues that we could address ourselves, that we could help ourselves to overcome. Stress, and I would say that almost everyone in today's world, the lifestyle that we live in, the environment we live in, is definitely stressed up. Not most of, at least most of the time, or some of the time. So stress is one common issue. Do you know something that sometimes we don't even realize that we are in stress? I remember working with a staff yesterday, and when we are going through some IT issues and IT recommendations, some development works and so on, and my staff, I was just looking at him and realized how stressed up he was. I can realize how stressed up he was, but unfortunately, he was so engrossed in the issues and so on, he doesn't realize how tight his body is, how upbeat his breathing is and so on. In fact, he's almost at the verge of perspiring, and that much of stress he was going through. And when I told him, hey, relax, you don't have to do the work with so much of stress, just let it go and just flow with it and so on. And there's a huge change in the person's energy itself. The moment he start realizing that he's in stress, and he start to calm down, and his body changes, and of course his performance increases. The reason I'm sharing with you is that we are most of the time stressed up, but most of the time we don't realize that we are stressed up. Other general common issues like headaches, insomnia, nauseous, vomiting, fatigue, sexual problems, weight loss, quit smoking, common colds, coughs, high blood pressure, neck pain, shoulder pain, hip pain, knee pain, and menstrual problems, and so on. And of course, some of these issues may not be solved just by acupressure alone. For example, based on some medical journals, it is said that 90% of all headaches are caused due to high dehydration, not enough water in the brain, or not enough flow of water in the brain. So like that, the M1 definitely addresses the issues, the M1 acupressure, but of course, with proper diet and with proper flow, and of course, especially drinking enough water and breathing properly itself, allows these common problems to be solved. So these common problems can be located, can be addressed based on 40 major points in your body. 40 major points in your body. Some of these points are at the back, but you don't have to bother about those points at the back, especially if you're working onto yourself, because most common issues have more than 2 or 3 points to work on. So you always have 2 points on the front that you can easily address yourself, rather than working on a point that is behind your back. And of course, those behind your backs are especially used by masseurs and physiotherapies and acupuncturists and acupressure therapies. So when they apply onto you, then they work on your back for that. So you do not have to worry about those points at the back. Just focus on all the points on the front, or points that you can directly address to, and so on. Some of the points is actually been used for more than 1 or 2 common issues. So you will come across some points are very common in most of the issues. I hope you can understand what I'm saying. All right, so now let's look at AMwand Acupressure itself. So in AMwand Acupressure, you point the wand at the meridian point, which requires healing or rejuvenation, and then use the tip of the AMwand and apply slight pressure on the meridian point with the interval of 5 seconds pressure. It could be 3 seconds or 5 seconds, but 5 seconds is better. Then release for 5 seconds and continue to do the same. Now, when you notice a point, my advice to you is first use your finger to feel that point. It's normally a soft spot. Normally, it's not on a bone or it's not on a hard surface. It's always at a soft spot just behind the bone or below the bone or above the bones and so on, or any joints. All right, most of the time it is there. And use your finger to press on that particular point. And when you realize a kind of sensation, a kind of softness, a kind of feeling, not just that point, but when you press, you actually feel the whole arm or the whole leg or even the whole body, and depending on where you point, you feel some kind of vibration happening. And of course, if you have sensitive energy, you can actually feel that. And once you located the point using your finger, then you use the wand, the tip of the wand, to press on that particular point. Now remember, use your finger and press lightly. You don't have to press hard. You don't have to exert a lot of pressure, all right? But something that's comfortable or slightly more than comfortable. So use your finger to press to feel the point, and then you use the wand, the tip of the wand, and you start applying pressure on a particular point. So you press, release, press, release, press, release. That's AMwand Acupressure. Along that way, when you're applying acupressure, breathe, focus on your breathing, breathe normally and breathe deeper if it's possible. Don't hold your breath, don't tighten your body. You have to relax your body. You got to let go and just focus on the pressure and your breath. Just the pressure and the breath. Press 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Release. Press 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Release. Press 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Release. Now, as you press and release, what's happening is the energetic resonance, the 0-point resonance of the wand activates that meridian points, and it helps to unblock. Basically, the body start to unblock the energy blockages, cleanse the energetic contaminants and so on, and ease the flow of energy, the flow of heat, the flow of lymphatic systems, the flow of fluids and so on. So that's the application of AMwand, or the AMwand application. One more point to note is that when you try to locate the pressure points, I might be sharing with you by saying that, use your fingers to measure and to locate your points. So if you look at that illustrations there, you can see that from your wrist, 3 points or 3 fingers up is 1 point, example, all right, is 1 point. So like that, use your fingers to measure before you locate the point. So basically it could be 1 finger, 3 finger, 5 finger, and so on. So I'll be using that so that you can also use it, try it So have your M1 with you, sit comfortably, and let's start looking at some of the common issues that you can address yourself with the M1. The first one itself, let's look at headaches and migraines. I don't think so. I've come across anyone who have not had a headache before. It's definitely disturbing for many reasons and so on. So let's say you want to address your headaches using the AMwand Acupressure. That's point one. Point one is in the center of your forehead. It is also known as a third eye chakra. So it's between your eyebrows, above your nose, right on the top. So use your finger, touch it, feel it first. And normally, if you're sensitive and if you touch it and feel it, if you close your eyes, you can actually feel the vibration in that particular area. It's a very, very sensitive area. So then now take the wand, point the tip, place it lightly, and then apply pressure. That's if you're having headaches and so on. Do not hurt yourself. Do not press too much. All right, just apply light pressure and gradually increase the pressure, but make sure that you are comfortable. And sometimes, and after doing so for a couple of seconds or minutes, when you release it, when you take it away, you can still feel the tensions. You can still feel the pressure in that particular point. It's okay. Eventually, it will go away. So that's point one. Or point two is just at the left or right side of your temple, at the end of your eyebrows. So it's basically at the end of the eyebrows on the left or at the right side. Again, you can use your finger, always use your finger to tap onto to the soft spot. Feel the spot first, and then use the wand and you press. All right. Try to keep your eyes closed, especially if you're using the M1 and pressing yourself. That's one. Number two is breathe normally or breathe deeper if it's possible. And focus on the pressure. And there's no limit to the number of times. So you can just keep on doing for a couple of minutes or so on, as much as you're comfortable. So that's point two. That could be on your left temple or on your right temple. Point three is at the back of your neck. Now, again, take your finger. Never use the wand directly at your point. Always use your finger to feel that point first. Point 29. So that's a very interesting point to note, and it's a very common point also. So if you were to take your finger and place it above your neck, between your skull and your neck, you can find a soft spot there, right at the back. And you can take the wand, place it now, and start pressing. Okay, that's for headache, migraine. That's point 29. I hope you're able to locate that. And kindly look at the visuals, and so that you're able to spot that point. That's point 29. No rules. You can keep on pressing as much as you want. In fact, if you're watching TV, you can also press. If you're just listening to music, you can also press. And these therapies that I'm sharing with you right now for your information is something that I've personally learned from acupuncture and acupressure masters, Qigong masters that actually use our M1s in Beijing, China. So I actually went there, spent a couple of days with them, and learned how they're actually using the M1s as acupressure techniques in releasing some of these common issues and so on. So they can feel the flow of energy and so on. So these are practical applications that is being used in Taiwan, China, and so on. All right, so that's point 29. Let's look at other 2 points, most common points. Another point most of you should know is point 34. Point 34 is when you look at your arm, be it your left arm or right arm. Let's assume you take your left arm, and the soft spot between your index finger and your thumb, when you make it a V shape, you can find the soft spot between these two fingers. Careful. For some people, it's very painful. For those who have not tried it before, it's very painful. And this is one common place that you can press in 34. All right. Use your finger, feel the spots first, then press. All right. or point 33. Point 33 is about 3 fingers along your side from your thumb down, 3 fingers from your wrist line. That's point 33, all right, on the back of your hand. So your palm is facing down on the side. That's 33. Now, again, you don't have to press on every single point for this particular issue. You can just choose apply acupressure on any 1, 2. And if still there's not much improvement after a couple of minutes or so, then you might want to try on some other points. Why is it important? Remember that different organs are connected through different meridian channels. All right. So every single point here in this case, all right, is connected to different meridian channels. And your issue, your particular headache could have been caused from one particular organ or one particular organ system. So it's important to try more than 1 or 2 pressures so that you're able to address which one is actually causing you the main issue. All right. So that's number 1, headache and migraines. Okay, let's look at number 2, stress, insomnia, and depressions. Remember, I mentioned 40 points. So don't be overwhelmed with the 40 points. All you need to know is what are the basic or common issues that you are concerned with and what are the points. And like I mentioned to you, some points are repeated in most issues. All right. Okay, so let's look at stress, insomnia, and depression. In this case, the first place will be your arm. In this case, your palm is facing you, all right, facing you, the palm. And the first point is point 10. Point 10 is if you look at your last finger, the smallest finger, the pinky finger, and if you flow down just above your wrist line, if you flow down, that's point 10. You can press as a soft spot there. You can press and then apply the wand and keep up pressing. If you're having stress, especially if you're working and you're not able to focus, you're not getting, or you feel so tensed up, you always use this area to press. Another place is 3 fingers from your wrist line, palm facing up, and right at the center, okay, right at the center, that's point 8. Now, in traditional acupressure, the actual meridian points are coined as ST9, ST10, ST14, ST27, and so on. But for our illustration, we're using point 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 40. So point 8 is 3 fingers after your wrist, right at the center of your hand. That's a very, very soft, sensitive area. So careful when you're using the wand, and just apply light pressure on that. That could be on your left hand or your right hand, doesn't matter. Okay, doesn't matter. And the other 2 points are on your right knee, just above your knee. Now for the point 20, it's locate your right knee, and just above the knee, like 1 finger above the knee, you can locate a soft spot. That's a common area. Point 20, that's a common area. And start applying pressure. You can use your finger and then start using the wand. And sometimes you can feel sensation in your whole entire leg, especially when you're tired and so on, or you're depressed, or you feel saddened or uncomfortable for sometimes. This is one common area, point 20. Another place is on the right side, right leg, on your inner side of your right leg. It's about 3 fingers down from your kneecap. It's on the inner side of your right leg, 3 fingers down, and you can press the soft spot there. I hope you're able to identify this soft spot, because this is again one common point 23. All right, that's one area. The next area is actually your heart chakra, right between your chest, right at the center of your chest. If you're wearing the M pendant, your M pendant is actually placed right at your heart chakra. So it's right at the center between your chest. You can also press, then careful, because that's a very delicate spot, and it's also a hard spot. So careful when you're applying the M1. This is a number 11. This is a very, very important point again to note, especially when you looking for answers within yourself, when you're looking for when you want to overcome stress, anxiety, depression. This is one common area that you can press. You can also wand at that particular area, obviously, and you can use the wand and press. When you press regularly, you can actually feel the entire sensation rippling down to the whole entire body. Other areas is at the back. I'll skip that for now. That's 32. 32 is right at the back, about two fingers on the left side. Okay, so that's for stress, insomnia, and depression, anxiety, and so on. Okay, so let's move on to the third point. Third point is fatigue. Most of the time, we feel lack of energy, we feel tired, we feel fatigue, especially exhausting after exhausting day and so on. So what you could do is take the wand, press on point 34. Again, point 34 is a common area. Is between it's like if you were to look at your hand, palm facing down, the V shape between your index finger and your thumb, it's there right at the joint, that particular area. Use the wand, press that regularly for fatigue, common area. Another common point is on your right leg, again, the top of your kneecap, about one finger above the kneecap. It's another common area to press for fatigue. Two other areas for fatigue is actually point 13 and point 18. Point 13, it's like just below your pancreas. It's about, if you can identify the pancreas chakra, okay, that's at the center of your rib cage. You move two fingers or three fingers down, that is point 13. That is also one common area for you to press. And when you use the wand and press, you can feel, the vibration happening, because this is the center of your whole entire body. And another area is like one finger down to from your belly button, just one finger down to your belly button. That's point 18. All right. You can also apply pressure there. In AFT quantum healing, that is one sacral point. That point we apply AMwand Acupressure in AFT quantum healing facilitation, because we find a lot of healing, and healing happens when AMwand pressure is actually applied there. So fatigue is caused due to energy blockages, energy flow, or reduce in low energy, and so on. So that's one common area for fatigue. Okay, another common issues that most people have is joint aches. Joint aches is one common point to note is number 7. Number 7, again, is hand right on your bicep, So it's like four fingers down from the start of your arm. Okay, face forward. So basically, your palm is facing you, and you're pressing on that. That's a soft spot there between the two ligaments, arm ligaments. You can find that. That's point 7. All right. Point 33 is on your left hand, palm facing down. Take three fingers from your wrist line, and press there. That is point 33 for joint aches and so on. Most joint aches is caused by this meridian in the leg areas. So especially when there's energy blocks between the leg or the back area. So you might want to try point 21, 24, and 27. Now 21 is on your right side, on your right leg, just after your kneecap, on the outer side of your leg. It's like on the outer side. That's one very, very common point to take note of. That's a pressure point on your leg. Point 21, you can again feel the soft spot between the two bones there. And use your finger, use the wand, keep on pressing that. That's point 21. Take note of that. That's a very common point. Point 24 is when you move down to your on your right leg. Again, on the outer side of your right leg, point 24 you're looking at is just above your ankle, just above your ankle. You can feel that sensation there. And point 27 is just above your smallest toe on your left hand on your right hand side. So just above that, okay, the index that's point 27. Point 33, point 7, point 21, and point 24. These are some of the important points. Point 21, take note of that. That's a very common point. So that's for joint aches. Again, let me remind you, use the fingers to locate the point, the softness of the point. You can feel when you press it, you can feel that sensation there. Then apply the wand and keep on pressing. Okay, apply the wand, press, release, press, release, press, release. Okay, now I'm going to share with you on the neck and shoulder pain. Neck and shoulder pain, again, most pains are caused due to energy blockages or energy trapments and so on. So point 29, point 30th for neck and shoulder pain. All right, for neck pain, go to point 29 again. It's between your bottom of your skull at the back, bottom of your skull and your neck. That point there. Careful with that point. Do not press hard. All right, light pressure would do. Another point is 3 fingers down. 3 fingers down from point 29, from that soft spot you can find, which is just above your T1. Basically, you can locate the top of your lumbar. You can see the top, you can see a lump there, and just above that, that's point 30. All right, you can press there. Normally when you press with your finger, you can feel that sensation. Now these are all pressure points, these are meridian points, are good points that is good to keep it healthy and apply pressure on a regular basis. So point 29, point 30, or point 33, again a common place, a common area. 3 fingers when you look at your hand face down, left hand face down. 3 fingers from your wrist line, all right, and you press there. That's point 33. That's for your neck. For shoulder pain, if you're having shoulder pain, on your right hand, right on the top of your right hand, you can feel that pressure. That's 0.5. That's a new point. 0.5, a joint between your shoulder blade and your hand, palm facing forward, facing you. All right. You can feel that soft spot on the top of your arm. That's 0.5 or 0.7. Again, 0.7 as you go down. That's about 4 or 5 fingers down is 0.7 right at your bicep. That's one area. That's 0.7. And another point for your shoulder pain is 0.22. 0.22 is just on your right leg, just below your kneecap, on the front of your kneecap, on the right at the front of your kneecap. Point 21 and 22 is very close by. It's, in fact, you can make a mistake with that. But when you press that point and when you move your feet left or right, you can feel the difference between the 2 points there. All right, both are very good points, point 22 and point 21, which I mentioned earlier. That's for your neck and shoulder pain. Now let's go to hip and knee pain. Most seniors do have hip pain, knee pain, especially when you bend down regularly or suddenly and so on. So for common hip pain, you might want to try point 21 again. Remember, right side, point 21, just below your kneecap. On the outer side, just 1 finger kneecap on your outer side, you can feel that soft spot. That's 21 or 24. In this case, 24 is just above your ankle, but on the inner side of the ankle. So you can find the soft spot there, point 24, or point 37, which is basically your left buttocks, right at the center of your left buttocks. That's for hip pain. And now for knee pain, Again, common points, point 21, point 24, and this time point 19. Point 19 is 4 fingers above the kneecap, 4 fingers above the kneecap on your right side. You can find that point. That's for knee pain. Point 19 is just above point 20. All right. For high blood pressure, you apply, notice you don't do it onto your arms at all. This time you do it to your leg only. That's because of the flow of meridian. Point 20, which is just above your kneecap on the right side. Okay, so if you're suffering from some kind of high blood pressure and you want to normalize your blood pressure, you might want to try this. Point 20. Point 23. Point 23 is on the right side, just below your calf, right in the center of your lower leg, right? The center of the lower leg, on the inner part of the lower leg. Point 23 is a soft spot there, just the end of your calf. Or point 25 further down, just before your ankle. Or point 28. Point 28 is just at the start of your the big toe, right? At the start of the toe, right at the top of that. All right. So that's point 28. So 20, 23, 25. These are some common points for high blood pressure. Common cold, especially with the seasons changing and so on. Common cold problem. Point 34, face your palm down. Point 34 is just between your index fingers and your thumb, that particular point, point 34. Point 9 is have your right hand palm facing forward, and this time you press like 2 fingers from your wrist line. 2 fingers from your wrist. Okay, that's point 9. Or point 3. Point 3 is just at your cheekbone. All right, cheekbone right below your right eye. You can find a cheekbone there. Careful if you're using the wand. Very careful there. Do not hurt yourself. And that's one area you might want to tap, or the area that you want to apply pressure on. That's for common cold. For those who want to do weight loss and want to have weight loss, you might want to try point 6. Point 6 is just 1 finger above point 7. That is just before your bicep, the start of your bicep. Okay, palm facing forward on your right arm. Okay, or point 12. Point 12 is 2 fingers from the center of your rib cage, just 2 fingers down. That's point 12. 2 fingers down is point 13. 2 fingers down is point 14. So you might just want to apply pressure there. The reason being is that's where a lot of food is being digested, or the food is being stored and so on. So we want to activate that for better digestion and better use of our fat and so on. That's where the fats are stored also. So point 12, point 13, point 14, which is just 2 fingers after from the center of your rib cage. Again, point 13 is 2 fingers from that, and 6 fingers from the center of your rib cage is point 14. That is about above your belly button. Okay, so that's for weight loss. Let's look at digestive issue. If you're having digestive issues, you might want to try point 12, which is like 2 fingers. Again, 2 fingers from the center of your rib cage. That's one area. That's the stomach area. And 4 fingers down from that point 12. That is the center of your stomach, which is like 2 fingers above your belly button. 2 fingers above your belly button. So that is for digestive issues. If you're having digestive, you might also want to try point 21. Point 21, again, common point, which is on the right side of your leg, just 1 finger after your kneecap on the right side, outer side of your leg. That's for digestive issues. Okay, let's continue with nausea, vomiting. If you're feeling giddy, nausea, vomiting, and so much, you might want to try on your right hand side, just below your pinky finger, straight down, like 1 finger into your palm from your wrist line. That's number 10. Keep on pressing there, the soft spot. They call it the karate chop spot. All right, that's point 10. Or point 8. Again, point 8 you're looking at is palm facing forward. It's about 4 fingers above, or 4 fingers from your wrist line. All right, 4 fingers from your wrist line, the center of your hand, right hand. Another common area you might want to press is point 20, which is like just above your kneecap, just above your kneecap on the top of your right leg. Top of your right leg. Okay, that's for nausea and vomiting. All right, so let's look at sexual issues. You know, if you're having sexual issues and so on, you might want to press on point 18. Point 18 is like 3 fingers down from your navel, from your belly button, 3 fingers down on, 3 fingers down, and 1 fingers to your right. 1 fingers to your right. Okay, that is one common area. Again, point 20, which is the top of your kneecap on your right leg. Point 20 or point 8. Take your right hand, point 8. All right, so 4 fingers up the center. That's one area to increase blood circulation and so on. All right. For common coughs, if you're having common coughs, one common area you want to try is point 4. Point 4 is actually it's actually the just below your throat, right at the collarbone cuff, right at the center, the soft spot there. Your vocal cord is there, so careful when you're using your finger or using the wand. Feel it, and you might want to apply pressure to increase the energy flow and so on. Another 2 soft spot is on your left and right of your collarbone, just below the center, below your collarbone. You can find that soft spot, point 39 and point 40. Okay, so this is for common cough. So I've shared with you some of the common issues, some common points to note of. And when you use that acupressure, when you use the AMwand Acupressure, basically you help. Some of the benefits of acupressure is you help to better flow of blood flow, better meridian energy flow, helps better flow of chi, helps to unblock energy, and helps to relieve pain and tensions, and overall improves overall well-being. So it is not necessary that you have to apply this AMwand Acupressure in a therapeutic manner. When you're watching a movie or listening to music or sitting down and enjoying nature, you can always take out the wand and start applying in some common areas that could help you improve your general well-being. That will also make you more sensitive to energy. It will also help you in the flow of energy and energy informations throughout your whole entire body. So these are some of the ways, means, methods for you to share the AMwand Acupressure onto yourself. This is not meant to others, not applying a therapeutic manner onto others. This is for your own self-help use. As I mentioned again, you can use the AMwand Classic, the AMwand Black Tip, or the AMwand Plus. Doesn't matter. All three bring about the same benefit as far as the AMwand pressure is concerned, acupressure is concerned. Okay, good. I've come to the end of the webinar. Okay, we have some questions lined up. Let me address those questions. Do the wand lose power over time? The wand is made up of natural crystals and minerals that has a natural resonance. So as you know, natural products with natural resonance does not lose its resonance that easily. It's like a stone. It doesn't loses the resonance that easily. Gradually, over years and years, there's a small, minute loss of resonance. So in this case, we use the natural elements and crystals and we power up the wand with the natural resonance. So the wand doesn't have any form of artificial resonance to lose its power. So the wand continued to have its power as much as possible. What we have recorded based on our studies and so on, there's about maximum 10% loss in the wand's power over a period of 8 to 10 years. So far, we only use this wand. We have studied this wand, used this wand since 2007. And what we notice is about 5 to 10% loss in energy over a period of 8 to 10 years. So it doesn't lose. All right. Will these slides will be sent to us? Yes, it's actually a recorded webinar, so you can have this slides, which will be part of the webinars, and you can use that for your own self-help and so on. Okay, how can you review the video recording? It normally takes about a week. We will edit it and we'll post it, and we'll definitely will inform you once we have edited and posted. Okay, does putting the wand in the sun revives it? Natural energy resonance, especially the sun's resonance, has a huge enhancement on anything for that matter, be a stone or a crystal or whatever it is. So on that basis, it's not necessary, but yes, you can actually have that under the sun. Normally, what people will do is they will put some crystal salts in the water, they cleanse the wand, and then they leave it in the sun for a couple of hours for the absorption, for it to work. Okay. Could we wand the various points instead of pressing? That's a very good question. Yes, you can. Instead of pressing, you can also wand it. All right. Acupressure itself, it's a physical form of activation. That same particular point can be wand with the M1 itself, and you would feel the effect also is the same ways. Okay, so these are the questions we have, and I thank you very much for asking such question. I hope this webinar has been exciting and interesting to you. Please bear my hesitation or whatever, because it's the first time I'm doing such webinar on this particular topic as a webinar itself. So please excuse me, and I will end this particular webinar with a quote. The natural healing force in each one of us is the greatest force in getting well. The natural healing force, Hippocrates says, is in each one of us is the greatest force in getting well. So if you're unwell, or if you know of anyone that's unwell, and I'm sure nobody wants to get sick or be unwell, it's a terrible thing to do. But just remember that they fail to realize the inner potential, the power that they possess within them. So just by the focus, just by the intention and the focus to change or improve itself, bring about the healing in anyone. With that, I thank you very much. I thank you very, very much for joining us in this. It's my pleasure to share with you. And till we meet again, have a fantastic weekend. Bye-bye.